Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you had a wonderful weekend. We are going to be talking a lot about marketing, low-cost marketing here in a few minutes. So glad that you're on today. But before we do that, I want to do a little fun exercise and then I'll give you a pointer for the week. So, but before we even do that, let's talk about last week's 5-2 tape breakdown. This 2-minute tape to learn to do personal possession portion of the Survivor's Guide the right way. So we want to be able to do the Survivor's Guide at the very beginning. You don't have to do it perfectly, but if we can get them all ready, thinking, boy, this guy's got things that I've not seen before and that I want, that's a good thing. So make sure you go back and listen to that. Now, this fun thing I want to go through here is this Japanese multiplication trick that is best first thing you'll learn in 2021. So they're showing how you can multiply graphically and very, very quickly. So even if you can't, is everybody numbers oriented? Is everybody's mind cued towards numbers? Yeah, they're not. So this is a great way for people to see things differently. So we're going to go through 42 times 21. We're going to go through 321 times 123 and how they do that. So 42 would be 1, 2, 3, 4 lines for the 4 and 1, 2 lines for the 2. And then we're going to add the 2 lines, which is 1, 2 over here and 1. And then we isolate those like that. And then we count the nodules here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we write down 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See here. 8. And then we have 1, 2. So 8, 8, 2 is the answer. You can even do it with three digits. So we do for 321, we do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, and then for 123, we do 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Isolate the nodules again, and we end up with 3 nodules here. Let's go from the right-hand side. We go 3 nodules here, 8 nodules here, 14 nodules here, 8 here, 3 here. We bring the 1 over, so that'd make that 9. Oops. Oh, I'll get back here. So it'd make that answer 39483. So why am I showing that? Any ideas why I'm showing you this little? It's a fun thing, but why am I showing this to you this morning? What's the point I'm trying to make? There's a couple of points I'm trying to make here. You guys probably come up with other points I hadn't even thought about. No guesses, huh? Oh, there we go. More than one way to do things. Yeah, I like that. 21-point experience is like writing upside down. Tom's ahead of me. Wake us up. Yeah, sure, John. So one is you need to look at things from a different perspective. Not everybody looks at things the same. The lucky thing is, though, our brains are hardwired for stories. But when we're giving, when we do metaphors, when we tell stories, there's a purpose for that, because whether people are analytical, whether people are more emotional, whatever, stories work because our brains have been wired that way for tens of thousands of years. But when it comes to numbers, you got to approach numbers differently, because everybody is not as analytical or number oriented as you are. So to show things out graphically is a good thing. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is that you have to look at things from a different perspective. And then Tom actually brought up, this is another indication of writing upside down. If you were to do this kind of math in front of a client, what would they think about you? Yeah, I agree, Tom. Guys, yes, very smart, cool, etc. So that's another way to show that we're professionals. So do you think? Well, first of all, do you guys remember how many professional letters, when I was making $1 million a year, how many professional letters did I have behind my name? On my card, on my stationery? None. That's right. So I actually had CFP. I had 3 professional designations. I had them all behind my name when I was making $50,000 a year. When I made $1 million a year, I had none. Why? Why did I have none when I was making $1 million a year? Because how do baby boomers think about people who put on airs? What do baby boomers think about people who put on airs? They like them or they don't like them? That's right. Actions speak louder. They don't like them, and actions speak louder. So people, when I wrote upside down, what did that tell people? That I was new at this, or that I was a consummate professional? See, you want to do the little things that let people know you're a professional. You don't want to blab and show them your letters and your certificates that tell them that you're a professional. So look at things differently. Create skills that show them you're a professional without having to tell them that you're a professional. So if you tell them you're a professional, they're going to push back. Baby boomers don't like people who brag. Does that make sense? So how many of you remember back in 2011, I actually had this on a coaching call in 2011, when Bill Gross was bearish on treasuries because rates were too low. The 10-year treasury at that point was 3.75, and he said, you shouldn't be in treasuries. Now, a decade later, we have a 30-day high yield of below what the 10-year treasury was. This is high yield. In fact, what is the 10-year treasury right now? Anybody got a guess what the 10-year treasury yield is today? $1.335. So here we are about 10 years later. The high yield is less than what the 10-year was when Bill was saying, oh my gosh, this is, we got problems here. And look at where the treasury is. So now, where are we? Should anybody be in bonds? Should anybody have a single cent in bonds? I want everybody to answer this. Got 3 answers. 4 answers. Come on, guys. Everybody, should anybody be in bonds? If any advisor has their client in bonds, how easy would it be for you to capture that client away from that advisor? Everybody's saying no. And yet, guess what's happening? This is how much is in junk bonds right now. And is that so? That's more or less than, is that setting a record for the amount of money that's going into junk bonds right now? And yeah, they're chasing yield. They're chasing a 3.35% yield in junk bonds. And should anybody be in, not only should not people be in bonds, but when you look at the bond teeter-totter, how is that bond teeter-totter affected for junk bonds? Less or more than government bonds? Bigger swings or lesser swings? Yeah, they're going to be decimated. What is a far better place to be? If you're looking for a safe place to be, where's a far better place to be? That's right, FIAs. So let's talk about some low-cost marketing tools. This is first we're going to cover a little idea, and then we're going to go into some actual things that you could do. But this idea was in HubSpot, the greatest marketing hack of all time, Cupcakes. This entity had 10 participants who were randomly chosen to receive a dozen cupcakes, and people loved it. They sent an email response to the request saying that they hoped they got the cupcakes. They tweeted delighted responses about their campaign, and when they delivered them, they tweeted pictures of them and their co-workers, so this is a business-to-business, enjoying the cupcakes. The response to the cupcake campaign was completely out of proportion to the $50 it cost us. So this is not the amazing thing. We're going to see the amazing thing on the next slide here. This is the amazing thing. So we decided to make cupcakes a bigger part of some other marketing initiatives prior to this first cupcake encounter. We would use iPads as an incentive to promote our webinars. You know, the post-registration page that says, tell your friends we're going to be joining us for a chance to win. We decided to scrap the iPad in lieu of cupcakes, and our conversion rate skyrocketed. So rather than have a contest for iPads, they gave people a dozen cupcakes, and guess what happened to the response rate? Through the roof. Why? Why did that happen? So the psychology of cupcakes. Now let's talk a little bit about what's happening here. There are a few good theories. The first is shared and blah, 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 blah. Cupcakes seem like more of an achievable prize than an iPad. In the case of the survey, the odds of winning cupcakes were actually better than the odds of winning an iPad. We were choosing 10 winners instead of 1. But for webinars, the odds were exactly the same. So guys, when the odds were better, I had a 10 times better chance of winning with Cupcakes, the iPad, that raised it up. But listen to this. For webinars, the odds were exactly the same. Only one winner. They were only going to choose one winner for Cupcakes or one winner for iPads. And what still won by multiples? What still won? Cupcakes crushed it. Cupcakes crushed it. Why? There's still something about a dozen cupcakes. It seems more possible. People think I'm much more likely to win cupcakes than I am to win an iPad. It's the exact same odds for the webinar, but in their minds, guess what they thought? Well, cupcakes, I'm much more likely to win cupcakes than an iPad. Another reason, or another theory on why cupcakes work is people actually want the experience of winning cupcakes more than they want the experience of winning an iPad. Winning an iPad is like a lonely experience. Tell your coworkers, and they'll probably feel bored or jealous. But winning cupcakes, that's a community experience. You can gather your coworkers or your family or your friends around to share your success and eat cupcakes together, take a picture. Maybe at some subconscious level, we all just have that feeling community more than we get with an iPad. And we're just not used to seeing cupcakes show up in marketing. It surprises us. It forces us to pause and pay attention. And attention, after all, is what marketers are always chasing. If the surprise theory is true, this holds implications beyond cupcakes. It means that an enormous edge is given to marketers who can navigate the balance of being familiar enough that people feel comfortable, but surprising enough that people actually pay attention. So we don't use a lot of iPad giveaways, but what kind of things do we use in our giveaways? What kind of things do advisors use in giveaways? Almost everybody gives it away. What is that thing? Gift cards. So what does this tell us about the efficacy of well, I'm not talking about when they become a client. So Steve said blankets. Yeah, we give those to people when they become clients, or maybe you do give them away as a gift or as a giveaway for marketing, Steve. That'd be an okay thing. But it's a good idea to think about. At least it's an experience. You're absolutely right, Steve. Now, what does this tell you about the efficacy of cupcakes versus a gift card? So what is worth trying? It's more personal. It's an experience. Where a gift card is a gift card. I mean, have you seen how, guys? You've seen it. Even teenagers during Christmas, when you give them a gift card, how does that affect them versus getting an actual thing? Yeah, they say eye roll. Oh, thanks, Grandma. No, giving them a thing. It's an experience. People are much more attuned to that. So it does not have to be cupcakes, but it has to be a thing versus just a gift card and again, we've even seen with an iPad gift, that thing, and what does an iPad cost compared to cupcakes? So you don't have to spend a lot of money, but it does have to surprise people, okay? So let's talk about some marketing ideas that we have available to you that I'm wondering if you're using. Before we do that, I want to talk about a company that made $300 million out of $25 billion in sales. So they made $300 million. That's their profit with zero advertising. That company is Cutco Knives. So how does Cutco Knives advertise? Door to door, yes, person to person, but 90% of the salespeople are who? Who are 90% of their salespeople? Yeah, it's kids. It's college kids. That's 90. And what they do, if you've never been approached before, they coach them and say, we're going to pay you $14 an hour. Well, ends up they don't pay them $14 an hour. They just take it out of any profits in the knives they sell. But the approach that they have is they say, put down a list of all your family, all your friends, all your neighbors, and then call them and tell them that you're going to like to practice a sales presentation, and they don't have to buy anything, and you'll still get paid $14 an hour just to practice in front of them. So then what does the friend, neighbor, relative think? Okay, well, if I don't have to buy anything and you can still, spend an hour with me and you can make $14, I'll help you out, right? But then what ends up happening? More times than not, what ends up happening? they buy. That's that's why Cutco has made $3 million in profit out of $25 billion in sales last year by doing that. See, and they're using the theory of acres of diamonds. And acres of diamonds is a parable, and it's actually a true parable that is told. If you've ever read self-help books for sales, this is you're very, very familiar with this. But we ignore it. We know this story, but we ignore it. See, the story was there's once a wealthy man named Ali Hafed who lived not far from the river Indus. So this is actually a true story. He was contented because he was wealthy, and wealthy because he was contented. One day, a priest visited Ali Hafed and told him about diamonds. Ali Hafed heard all about diamonds, how much they were worth, and went to his bed that night. He was a poor man, so he was wealthy, but he wasn't wealthy. In his head, all of a sudden, he became not wealthy enough. So he had lost nothing, or he had not lost anything. But he was poor because he was discontented. Guys, have you heard back in the 2000s, the guy that was worth $3 billion and his stock or his company went down to from $3 billion to he was only worth $1 billion? And this is a true story too. And what did he do? So he was worth $3 billion. He committed suicide. I mean, how many of us would be more than happy to have $1 billion? So it's all a matter of how we view things. And so Ali Hafed, because he thought he was poor now, sold his farm, left his family, and traveled to Palestine and then to Europe searching for diamonds. He did not find them. His health and his wealth failed him. Dejected, he cast himself into the sea, so he committed suicide. One day, the man who had purchased Ali Hafed's farm found a curious sparkling stone in the stream that cut through his land. It was a diamond. Digging produced more diamonds, acres of diamonds, in fact. This, according to the parable, was the discovery of the famed diamonds of Golconda. So, in sales, where is our acres of diamonds? In sales, where's our acres of diamonds? Clients, that's right, clients. So how are we communicating with our clients to generate more business? Now, do we want to be constantly hammering our clients, selling them things or pitching them things? No, but we still have lots of tools that we can use to get them to refer people. So what we want to do is instead of pitching them products all the time, we want to give them value. If we give value, they're going to give value back to us. So what are some of the things that we can do? Well, the first thing we do is our new client and annual review. Our new client, and we actually have a guide or a system for doing that. So I've talked about this, but how many of you have used this manual to conduct your client reviews? See, in this manual, we're going to talk about keeping it simple, make sure there's structure. We use the annual review checklist. What if I'm just getting started? Review the accounts the client has with you. This is going to add dollars to your practice. Moving toward a referral. So let's just touch on this. So most annual reviews lead nowhere. My annual reviews led nowhere when I was making $50,000 a year. Why? Because all my annual reviews were about was, okay, here's what your accounts are worth. Here's why they're worth this much, and here's the recommendations I'd make and changes. What do I get out of that? Pat on the back. But when I started to do the 21-point checklist, what is the first 7 things that I covered every single time in an annual review? The non-financial things. What does it tell my clients about my relationship with them? That it's just about money, or that I care? That's right, that I care. Now, when I show that I care, guess what that gives me the opportunity to do? So I don't want to just go in there lazily doing a review. I want to go in there with intention. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm managing clients' expectations by doing the 7 non-financial things. What does that mean, managing their expectations? It means that if we have a bad year, it's easy to have a client on a good year, isn't it? Clients are easy on good years. But in a bad year, guess what? They're not quite as easy. They're more worried. They're more anxious. They're more critical of our relationship with them. But by talking about the 7 non-financial things all the time, what does that do to our relationship? It reminds them that I'm just not about the money. I'm doing a lot more than just about the money. What does that do with them about their worry about how much we're being charged in fees? Because guys, every single year, what's happening to the fees? What's happening to fees every single year? They're going down. And are they being hammered in the press about that? Are they being told about fees over and over and over? Yes. So it manages their expectations of me. It gives them an immeasurable improvement in the client-advisor relationship because I'm talking about non-financial things. And guys, many of the people, 4 years, and they still hadn't done their survivor's guide. 4 years I had this conversation. Now, did you get your survivor's guide done? Oh, shoot, no, we didn't do that. Okay, well, do you remember why it's important? Here, let's review that. Blah, 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 blah. And then they say, okay, that makes sense. Can I get another one of the survivor's guide? Sure, here it is. See, my job isn't to make sure they do it. I'm not going to hound them, but it is my job every single year to remind them of that. And what does that do to our relationship? It reminds them that I'm more than just about the money. Guys, when my clients died, guess how quickly Missy can validate this. Guess how quickly their kids called me. Their kids were calling me right after or even before the mortuary, because their parents had told them, call Mike, call Mike, call Mike. He has all of our documents. He'll walk you through this. And guess how many kids then went with me? I didn't have to hound them. The kids said, my mom and dad said to stay with you. I didn't hound them. Their parents told them to. Add value for the client, adds dollars to your practice. We're going to talk about that because it leads to referrals, etc. So make sure they're structured, and we use an annual review checklist. So let's look at this checklist. The legal stuff, we're going to go through. Do you have your survivor's guide? Go through this every single time. So can I get a yays or a yays of people that actually have used this with not just one client, with all your clients? How many of you are using this with every single client that you do an annual review with? So we got one yes. John says yes. Okay. So we got one yes. So John, does it work well for you? What does it do for your relationship with your clients when you go through this? Do they look at it as like, why does John have a checklist? Or do they appreciate that? So it's fantastic. So guys, one of you out of 150 guys are doing this. You got to do this. There's a reason for this. This is having an intentional annual review. Do you have your survivor's guide? Yes, no, year reviewed. Your will, your trust, your durable power of attorney, your medical power of attorney, your quality of life directive. Safety, do you have identity theft plan in place? Is your umbrella in place? Is your current life insurance structured properly? Guys, what's this? What could this help you find? Is your current life insurance structured properly? What can that help you find? And if you talk to Jerry and talk to Matt, replacing in life insurance today is the easiest possible sale you can get and the most money in your pocket you can get. Are you aware of any changes made to your home insurance last year? Or have you completed the house insurance checklist in the past year? Does your long-term care plan still meet your needs? Does your final expense still meet your needs? Do you have safety deposit box set up? Do you have ugly surprise and do you have an ugly surprise in place? What does that mean? It means, are you ready for all the ugly things that can happen to you? So that means, do you have cash reserves in place? Do you have a plan in place to replace your spouse's Social Security? What are you doing there? Another possible sale. Do you have a plan in place for your finance in case of a disaster? Financial. Do you have a different bank account? Do you have a different investment account? Guys, why do you want to know these things? What could have happened in the last year? Bank account, investment account. What could have happened in the last year? If your clients are in their 60s or their 70s, windfall, Kevin, a windfall. They could have inherited from a parent or a brother or a sister. Financial, bank accounts. Do you have did you take on any debt this year? What are your asset allocations? Let's look at that again. Monthly income. Okay, are you comfortable with your current cash flow? Do you expect any? Guys, is this an intentional review? Yes. And are clients going to look at you like, why are you asking me all these questions? Or are they going to say, I am glad I'm with this advisor. He's got his act together. They're going to be mad at you for covering all these things, or are they going to think that you had your act together? Yeah, they're going to think you had your act together. And guys, in this, we have scripts on how to review the 7 non-financial. If you don't even know how to do these or talk about these things, don't worry. We'll tell you. We got scripts on how to talk about the non-financial documents. If you never went out over the 12, if you've never went over the 7 documents, some of you have maybe come on and never did 21 lights with your clients. Your clients don't even have the 7 non-financial documents. So you're wondering, like, how do I even introduce these documents to them then at an annual review? We have a script for that. We have a script for how to find more money. And most importantly, which script do we have that's going to help you find tons of money, especially after you've gone over this? What script do we have that's going to help you find tons of money? Nick's got it. What script that's 2 minutes long will help you find tons of money? Yep, Kevin's got it. The referral script. So this is clipped right from the manual. We actually had the link right there in the manual on the referral script. The referral script is 2 minutes long. Guys, if I asked you, if I put you on the spot right now on the phone, how many of you, I want you to say yes, if you think you could give me a perfect 2-minute referral script if I asked you to do it right now? Getting lots of no's. Guys, how perfect should your referral script be? How many people would we want? How many clients would we want to come on as referrals? I mean, if we were in a market, we'd want all of our clients referrals. Why? Because they cost nothing, because they're pre-sold, because they're just like our favorite clients. You got to do, that's right, Kevin, you got to do this, not till you got it right, until you can't get it wrong, because you're going to use this referral script after you've gone through the checklist. You're going to find a ton of clients that way. Does that make sense? And what if you just had a client review 3 or 4 months ago? Is now still a good time to have a client review? Yeah, why? How many people feel certain about their finances right now? How high is the market right now? How high, we just talked about how low are yields right now, or how overly priced are bonds right now. So there are lots of good reasons to talk to your clients right now and do it the right way. And doing it the right way is good for the client, and it's good for you, and it's going to make you more money. Do your interviews with intention. So we have lots of other ideas as well, and all of them revolve around giving value. What are some of the other things you could do? So if you go to the website, under library, under archive library, we got lots of different things you could do. One is, remember guys, we have lots of bonus gifts that you can give people for free. We have the Medicare Made Easy package. We have Keeping Your Mind Young package. We have Fit, Active, and Health package. We have 7 little known Social Security benefits. Grandparents Essential Kit. Pass on what's really important. How to squeeze every drop out of life. What are some, and then on our full checklist, we have all these ebooks. So what could you do with all of these gifts, these packages that we have available? What could you do with them? Any ideas? What could you do with them at your review, at your annual review? Yeah, I wouldn't give them a stack of these things, but I maybe would have a stack and say, hey, would any of these? Would you be interested in any of these? But also, what am I also thinking about? Hey, do you know anybody that would benefit from any of these? Would you like to take an extra one? Would you like, do you know anybody that would benefit from? Do you know any do-it-yourselfers that would benefit from this? Or do you know anybody who's looking at doing legal planning now, or might be looking at long-term planning or tax planning, or anybody, again, do-it-yourselfer here? Do you know anybody that's thinking about Medicare right now? Do you know anybody that's thinking about Social Security right now? Do you know anybody that loves being a grandparent that might benefit from this? Anybody that's doing estate planning? So you can give this to your clients, but also you can give them an extra one if they want it to give to somebody that they know. Does that make sense? What's another thing we can do here? Well, the Halo system. Right now, churches are rolling in the dough and rolling in parishioners, or are they struggling a little bit right now? How many churches do you think brought in more money this year or last year than they brought in the year before? They're all struggling. And they have to be providing value to their parishioners. Could you approach these places with a value, for example, with a legacy letter? Would the legacy letter dovetail perfectly with most churches and synagogues and places of worship's message to their members? Do you all know what a legacy letter is? Does anybody not know what a legacy letter is? Okay, everybody knows what it is. Good. So yes, it would dovetail. So if you sent out a package to all of your local places of worship saying you'd be willing to do an online workshop for their members and give them this tool, would that be a possibility to bring to is that, first of all, is that providing value to the church and to their members? Yes. So is that something that would be worth, if you're looking to drum up business right now, guess how many places of worship I would do this? What if I did this, because I know some of you guys did this, what if I did this a year ago? Would that prevent me from doing it again right now? Have things changed for churches in last year? Yes. So you could do this. Is that going to cost you a lot of money to do that? A lot of money, a lot of time to do that? No, very, very inexpensive. Here's another idea. Guys, how much does it cost to rent a whole theater and have them play a movie for you? A first-run movie. Anybody know? $139 for a first-run movie, $99 for last 2 or 3 years. Could you? And again, this is not how most movie theaters look nowadays. Or are most of them now have those big loungers with big armrests with cup holders in between them? So how many clients could you fit in a theater right now and still be really, really cognizant of COVID and keeping them apart? So in next month's marketing newsletter that I put out, I'm talking about that. So if you want that early, you can contact Tricia, and she'll get you that article that I wrote earlier. It may not be finished, but the guts are there on how to leverage movie theaters right now. So what you do is you'd invite your best clients, tell them that you're only going to have 10 people in a whole theater that holds 100, 200 people, but you're going to have 10 there, and they should bring what? What should they bring? Friends. That's right. The friends that are in their pod, the friends that are in their bubble. And do most people have friends that are in their bubble nowadays? Yes. And are they looking for something to do in a safe manner? Yes. Tell them you're going to have popcorn. You're going to have, and so all in, guess what you're going to be out for this? Couple $100. Now, what are you going to get out of it? If they bring their friend, all you're going to do is what? Go up there, tell them how much you appreciate your clients, that, thanks for coming. You just, and that, you want to talk about how much you love your clients there as a thank you. You don't go on and on, but spending 5 minutes thanking your clients and that they're the reason for success and blah, 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 and maybe giving another 5-minute synopsis of what's happening with the market and something they should be thinking about. So 10 minutes all in, and what is their friend thinking? What do you think their friend's thinking at that point? Yeah, they're thinking, wow, my guy hasn't even frickin' called me in the last 8 months. This guy's out here doing this. So, what if you did, so if you can fit 5 clients, couples, and their friends in, and it costs you $200, How many of these could you do? I mean, let's say you do 5 of them. That's $1,000. What's the likelihood doing 5 of these, you're going to find enough money to pay for $1,000? High or low? Heck, if you only found 1 client out of 5 of these, you're going to make what? 10 grand. Is that going to be, so $1,000 turned into 10 grand? Good idea. And besides that, what are your clients looking at you as? You're a what? Are they ever going to leave you? So think about this. And you're helping what? Local businesses. Heck, you could even leverage this into what? I'd send a press release to all the local radios and newspapers telling them I'm doing it. Make sense? Very, very cheap. Client education. Figure, talk, maybe you just want to do a little thing about why bonds are not the right place to be right now. Do we have resources for you to talk about why bonds are not the right place to be right now? And do a half-hour presentation via the web. The half hour. Do you have different topics that you could educate your clients on for a half hour? Heck, you should be able to come. Could any one of the 21-point checklist parts be turned into a half-hour little educational thing? And then have them invite their friends. Heck, if you do this here, guess what you could do? Hand out to everybody your education classes. So all the friends that they bring, you hand in education classes. Guess what? The likelihood you might be able to get some of them to attend this. Higher or lower? Higher. Do your birthday lunches. Again, this is for people who have pods of people that are in their bubble, okay? So you take one, and we have, again, a way to do this. So if you look right here, it's a client appreciation luncheon, and it's a birthday. So you take one of your clients, you call their spouse, and you have them invite all the people that they love. And again, are restaurants overwhelmed now with people or not overwhelmed with people? Do you think you could find a restaurant that has a private room right now for you to do a lunch for, because we're not talking about a huge room, right? We're talking about a side room that would hold maybe 12 people or something like that. And then you do the birthday lunch for them. And again, we have a script in this that tells you what you should say there. And it's not going to be making a pitch, but again, what are their friends and neighbors and relatives thinking about you as compared to their current advisor when you do this? Oh, Dean said that meals at restaurants are 100% deductible this year. That's a good thing. Yeah, so that's another idea that you could be doing. We talked here about a month or two ago about using client advisory boards right now and getting referrals. You could be doing community education right now. Most community education places are looking for people to do classes right now, and you could do it as a webinar. So contact your local adult communication, see if they're looking for instructors. They're much more likely to talk to you now than they were 2 years ago. So we have all sorts of no-cost options to leverage your client checklist, and it's right here under the archive library, right here, kind of a summary of all the things we talked about today. 21 Lights with your clients, or not even doing 21 Light with your client, doing client review with your client. So 21 Light is for somebody who does not have those 7 documents yet. You do a 21 Light, and you'd be amazed at how much money you find that way. Epidemic marketing, client reviews, we talked about that at the beginning. Making sure you have your elevator conversation down, making sure you have your referral script down for the client reviews. Digital online directory, client advisory board, we talked about that here a month ago. Client referral dinners, we talked about both the movie theater and the birthday lunch. So there are things that you can do right now to go back to your current clients and mine the diamonds in your backyard. If you did these things that we talked about today, if you did 1, 2, or 3 of these things, and again, are these things expensive, or are they are they basically, I guess the most expensive one we talked about would maybe be the movie theater, which is $200. So if you're busy marketing right now, you shouldn't be doing these things. Go out and busy. But if you're not busy marketing, what should you be doing when we get off the call today? What should you be doing when we get off the call today? Yeah, because these ideas are not good unless you what? Do them. Yes. Implement them. They're inexpensive. So if you got more people than you know what to do with, no problemo. Then you don't need to worry about this. But if you're wondering right now, scratching your head, and we've got some marketing things we're going to be talking about very soon. Missy's actually going to be doing a call in the next 4 weeks, sometime in the next 4 weeks. I'll put her on the spot. She's going to yell at me when we get up. But in the next 4 weeks on marketing. But until then, guess what? Oh, and anything that she's going to come up with is going to be free. Is going to cost, obviously, if it's marketing, thousands of dollars. It's going to cost money. So what would I be doing? Waiting for Missy to talk about how I can spend thousands of dollars to get in front of new people who I'm going to have to really work hard to and have my 21-point checklist skills at the top of their game to convert them? Or would I be going back and doing the things that we talked about today that, first of all, are, guys, worst case scenario, your clients don't refer you a single person, you don't find a dime. Was it still worth doing these things? Because what have you done with your relationship for your clients? Yes, well, yeah, Kevin, you planted seeds. Excellent point. You solidified your client. You're not going to lose that client. Heck, if you lost one client, if this prevented you from losing one client over the next year, what would that do for you? It'd save you what? Lots of money. But do you really think if you did these things, you wouldn't find more money from your clients, their friends, their neighbors, or relatives? You really think if you did these things and did them the way we ask you to do them, yeah, you're going to find them. Make sense? So as you're waiting for the marketing that's going to cost thousands of dollars, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to my acres of diamonds, make a ton of money, and then guess what you're going to do? You can do with that money once Missy showed you some of the ways that are working for marketing right now. You have to put it on the credit card. You have to come up with money, or it's going to be sitting in that checkbook waiting for you to implement. Does that make sense? So a lot of these things are reminders, but, you know, I get it. I look at stuff that I've created and say, oh, gosh, I forgot I did that. So this is a reminder of all the tools that you have available to you that are inexpensive, that are within your grasp to be a hero to your clients. But when you're a hero to your clients, you're going to find all sorts of money from your clients, their friends, neighbors, relatives, which you can then invest now that we're getting to a place where we can start marketing more actively again. Make sense? Good call, everybody? You excited, hopefully? So get off this call, go review this video, go to the website, go to the archive, and get some of these no-cost or extremely low-cost ways going. Make sense? Awesome, possum. You guys have a great rest of the week.